what does court packing mean in the basic sense of the term? Now, I'm starting to see it as two ways. One is a way of saying, because it's more popular, put forward this idea of, well, let's just put term limits. You don't want these people that are 85 plus years old on courts, and that could be popular because that sometimes gets popular around politics as well. Of course, politics, you get to elect people, you get decision judges, different, but it'd be like a reverse way of getting at it. The real idea of court packing is what FDR tried to do, is using Congress while you're there, so politically, while it's going to benefit you at the time, to add or subtract justices from the court.
The court leans conservative now 6-3, and probably that way for at least 20 more years. So this is I would call it a desperate effort to do this.
When FDR attempted to pack the court in the 30s to get his New Deal legislation through because the old Supreme Court was declaring all his acts unconstitutional, and that issue was brought up before then Senator Joe Biden. Biden called it, quote, a boneheaded scheme. Suddenly it's not so boneheaded.
All politicians, it's about their time in office. They're not thinking about the next 20, 30 years where they may not even be alive anymore. They're thinking about right then, right there, instead of long-term implications.
If anything would make the court appear partisan, it would be that. One side saying, when we're in power, we're going to enlarge the number of judges, so we will have more people who will vote the way we want them to.
It would change the constitutional balance if that every politician, if they get control of the chambers, could then president come in and say, I'm going to get it completely undercuts separation of powers and checks and balances.
It's not supposed to be something that you're just constantly politicize. I mean, are we going to politicize everything? Those battles are already tough enough to get the nominees through. They're nasty, they're hyper-partisan, but then at least those people have decades to move forward past the partisanship. So that's why, people think, because this justice, when they went through as a nomination and the Democrats were really tough on them and Republicans were really tough on them, usually it's the Democrats, that they're going to suddenly side with Republicans on everything. And that never happens. And why is that? It's because they have lifetime appointments, they're secure in their position, and they don't answer to anybody.
What does this ultimately do? It takes the power to direct the direction of the court away from who? The American voters. Because right now the American voters have that discretion, Jay. I mean, look, who has more authority to shape the future of the court at this particular moment? It's President Joe Biden. If you make this change, what Jordan said is exactly correct. If President Trump or a Republican or anybody on another side of the aisle is elected the next time, what are they going to do? They're going to retaliate. And the people who will lose out will be the American voters.
Alexander Hamilton, one of the founding fathers in Federalist number 78, he wrote, there's three branches of government, but I'm very worried about the potential weakness of the judicial branch. Why? The executive branch of government has force. They have power, the authority to call out troops. The legislative branch has money. They control the purse. They make the appropriations. Power and money. What does the judicial branch have? The only thing the judicial branch has is judgment. But that is the weakest branch and the most easily manipulable branch of government. If we allow court packing by adding justices to get a president's political agenda through, we have gutted the judgment and the independence of the judiciary forever in this country.
I'll put together a national bipartisan commission of scholars, constitutional scholars, Democrats, Republicans, liberal, conservative. And I will ask them to, over 180 days, come back to me with recommendations as to how to reform the court system, because it's getting out of whack.
I don't understand when he said the system is out of whack. I mean, I don't see the courts out of whack.
We have a federal system. We have a constitutional system that says judges are nominated by the president with the advice and consent of the United States Senate, and if confirmed to that judicial position, they serve for life. So what is out of whack?
What's out of whack is that he got 3 judges appointed by President Trump, and he couldn't stomach that.
I think it's a very dangerous move. I think you could, look, there's the reason we have checks and balances and separation of powers. This action completely undercuts it.